Here's something that will genuinely shock you. The majority of drivers on British roads have never once been properly taught how to safely pass a cyclist. Not once. They passed their driving test, they got their license, and that critical skill, overtaking the most vulnerable people on the road, was never actually tested. Why? Because during most driving lessons, the situation simply never comes up. And that gap in knowledge? It's costing people their lives, their licenses, and their freedom. My name is Patel, and welcome to How to Get a UK Driving License Step by Step, the channel where we break down everything you need to know about driving safely and legally on UK roads. Today, I'm walking you through real dashcam footage of overtakes so dangerous, so reckless, that each one could mean points on your license, a hefty fine, or in the worst cases, a criminal charge. Some of these drivers racked up not just one offense, but multiple offenses in a single overtake. So whether you're a learner driver working toward your test, a new driver fresh on the road, or even a seasoned driver who thinks they know it all, stay with me, because this one matters. Let's start with the basics, because getting the basics right is everything. When I'm following a cyclist, I keep roughly 10 meters of distance behind them, not so close that I'm breathing down their neck and making them nervous. Cyclists can feel the pressure of a car sitting right behind them, and that's not fair. But not so far back that when a safe opportunity to overtake finally arrives, I've now created a new danger by rushing to close the gap. Here's the truth that a lot of drivers in the US and UK alike seem to forget. Cyclists have every legal right to be on that road, the same right as you, the same right as any other vehicle. Reading comment sections and dashcam groups online, you'd think cyclists were some kind of obstacle to be dealt with. They're not. They're road users, full stop. Now, when it comes to actually overtaking, the highway code is very specific. Rule 163 says you must leave at least 1.5 meters of clearance when passing a cyclist at 30 mph or below, and when you're traveling at higher speeds, more. That measurement is from extremity to extremity, wing mirror to door handle, not a rough estimate, not a guess, a real, deliberate gap. This rule was updated in 2022, and what it practically means is that unless the road ahead is completely clear, no oncoming traffic, no bends, no junctions, you are most likely not going to be overtaking that cyclist safely. And that's where patience becomes your most powerful tool. One thing I teach and repeat constantly is this: good things come to those who wait. It sounds simple. It sounds almost too simple. But think about what patience actually costs you on the road. A few seconds. That's it. A few seconds of waiting. And what does impatience cost you? Potentially 3 points on your license, a fine that could run into hundreds of pounds, a careless driving charge, or worse, someone's life. Every time I'm following a cyclist and I see drivers in front rushing to get past, I hold back even further. I give the car ahead enough space so they don't feel pressured by me sitting behind them. Because here's the truth. A lot of dangerous overtakes happen because the driver felt rushed by whoever was behind them. I don't want to be that pressure. Don't be that pressure. Let's talk about where you absolutely must not overtake. Bends? No. Corners? No. Junctions? Absolutely not. The brow of a hill? Never. Crossroads? Out of the question. Highway Code Rules 166 and 167 cover this in black and white. These aren't suggestions. These are the rules. And here's a question I ask learner drivers to really make it land. Imagine a police car coming toward you on a blue light emergency call. How quickly does that seemingly safe overtake become a near head-on collision? In seconds. Sometimes in less than a second. And yet, in the dashcam clips I've reviewed, driver after driver chooses bends, chooses junctions, chooses exactly those locations to try and squeeze past a cyclist. The reason most of them survive to be caught on camera is luck, not skill, not judgment, pure luck. Now let me walk you through what actually happens when these rules get broken, because the penalties are real and they are serious. A driver who overtakes on a blind bend is looking at a minimum of careless driving. That's 3 points and a fine from the moment it's caught on camera. If they cut back in too early and endanger the cyclist, that's a separate offense layered on top. 1 overtake, multiple charges, and if the road ahead had something coming, a car, a van, a motorbike, you're now not just risking your own life, you're risking the cyclist, the oncoming driver, any passengers involved. One selfish, impatient decision with the potential to destroy multiple lives. Solid white lines. This is where it gets particularly serious because this moves us from the highway code into actual statute law. Rule 165 is not a should, it is a must not. You must not cross a solid white line to overtake unless the vehicle ahead is traveling at 10 mph or less. Not 11, not 12, 10. So how do you know how fast a cyclist is going? You follow them, you use your speedometer, you work it out before you even begin thinking about whether to overtake. Simple. And in the dashcam clips I've seen, cyclists on downhill stretches are regularly doing well above 10 mph, sometimes 20, 25, 30 mph, and drivers are still crossing solid white lines to get past them. That's not a gray area. That is an illegal overtake. 1 offense for crossing the line. Potentially a second offense for the lack of clearance on top of that. And if you do all of that in a company van with your employer's name plastered on the side. Now, you're also having that conversation with your boss. Hatch markings, those diagonal stripes bordered by solid white lines that you see on UK roads, these are areas you must not enter. Not should avoid, must not enter. Entering them to overtake a cyclist is a deliberate choice to break the law. And I've seen it happen in the dashcam footage. The driver goes past the cyclist, enters the hatch markings, clips back in, and the whole time a safer option was available. Wait. Simply wait. Because in every single one of these clips, within moments of the dangerous overtake, the cyclist turned off, or the road cleared, or a junction appeared where waiting would have cost nothing. The patience always pays off. Junctions deserve a special mention because they are genuinely the hidden danger in overtaking. I actually physically stopped an overtake on a driving lesson, intervened with the dual controls, because we were approaching a junction on the right, and I had a feeling. And sure enough, a car emerged from that junction without checking left. Had I not intervened, we would have had a collision. Now legally, yes. The car emerging from the giveaway line would have been at fault. But here's the thing. Being legally correct while dealing with the aftermath of a head-on collision is no comfort to anyone. The hospital doesn't care whose fault it was. The cyclist on the road doesn't care. Their family doesn't care. Being right means nothing if the outcome is catastrophic. Avoid junctions. Follow the highway code. It's genuinely that straightforward. I want to take a second to address the people who read the highway code and immediately jump to, but it only says should, it's not the law. I hear this constantly, and here's how I actually think about it. The highway code gives advice on 3 levels. The loosest level is general guidance, things like avoiding U-turns on mini roundabouts. Not illegal, but strongly discouraged because of the confusion they cause. The next level is strong advice. The you should rules. Things like making sure the road ahead is clear before overtaking, making sure nobody is overtaking you before you begin your move, making sure there's a safe gap in front of the vehicle you want to pass. These aren't optional extras. These are real-world driving requirements. There is no version of driving where you pass your test and then leave those rules behind. Driving instructors drive that way every single day, and so should you. And then there's the strongest level of non-statute guidance, the do's and do nots. Do not overtake on bends. Do not overtake at the brow of a hill. Do not overtake on corners. Follow these and you stay safe. Follow these and you stay out of the statistics. Here's the thing that I always come back to. And it's the thing that makes me feel genuinely frustrated when I see these clips. Every cyclist on that road is a real person. They have families. They have someone waiting for them at home, a partner, a parent, a child. They made the decision to ride their bike, maybe for the environment, maybe for their health, maybe just because they enjoy it. And they trusted that the other people on that road would treat them with basic care. And it is entirely within our hands whether they get home safely or not. That's not a small thing. That is an enormous responsibility. And every time we get behind the wheel, we carry it. So here is the recap, clean and simple. Follow a cyclist at around 10 meters. Leave at least 1.5 meters of clearance at 30 mph and under, more at higher speeds. Never overtake near junctions, bends, corners, or the brow of a hill. If there's a solid white line, the cyclist must be doing 10 mph or less before you even consider passing. And remember, good things come to those who wait. A few seconds of patience is worth infinitely more than points on your license, a fine, or the weight of knowing you hurt someone who just wanted to get home. If you're working toward your UK driving license, or you want to sharpen up the skills you already have, how to get a UK driving license step by step is exactly where you need to be. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, and come join a community of drivers who actually want to be better every time they get behind the wheel. Stay patient, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.